have you got a soul wound? What is a soul wound? Well, a soul wound is trauma from a past life. So I worked with a lady recently, we'll call her Mary. And Mary had a witch wound. Now, the witch wound is about judgment. It's about being seen. It's about worth. It's about being able to step into your spirituality. So there's all these different things that come from a witch wound that will cause you problems in this life. Okay, so maybe you don't express your beliefs. You might be really spiritual, but you don't talk about it. Certainly, I know I did that for years. I hardly spoke to everyone. So when I started doing this for a living full time, people were like, wow, when did you get into that? And I'm like, oh, since I was a child. And so it's something that a lot of people have. It's called a witch wound because we've more often than not got it when we were persecuted as herbalists, midwives, witches in a previous life, warlocks, whatever the terms are that you want to use. Most of the time we were just wise women, you know, we weren't actually anything really bad, okay? But there's good people and bad people, so people will use any tool for good or bad depending on how they're orientated. Anyway, with this client, they were so miserable in their life. They'd lost their job, they couldn't seem to find what they wanted to do. And that's because every time they went towards what they really liked, it was like, oh, no, can't do that. And away they'd go. And so they were never going to get on their path. So in our session, when we identified that, when we spoke about the witch wound, she suddenly had this epiphany, went, oh my God, I'm terrified of water. And I can't stand bridges, whether that's, you know, low ones or high ones, and I don't do tunnels. And so all the pieces of the puzzle came together. Now, she'd also had a lot of lives avoiding human contact and working just with animals. And there had been trauma from a marauding army that tortured them and damaged them physically. And so, again, that's in her life now because it wasn't let go of at the time. So by us identifying those wounds, that trauma, we can clear it, but we can also understand what it's about in this life. And so in this life, she's set herself up in a position where she has to find the way past it. Otherwise, she's going to be miserable. So that's really good because her soul knows that it needs to get it out the way. It's like having to do a task that you don't want to do, like, I don't know, defluff the tumble dryer or, you know, take down the Christmas decks. I don't know. But you don't want to do it. So you find 1,000,001 other things to do rather than go and do it. But you're still looking at those Christmas decorations or the housework that needs doing, and it's driving you nuts. So I think the biggest thing she got from the session was realizing that her problems aren't in this life, they are rooted elsewhere, and that she can change it because it's safe to do so in this life. And it was a massive epiphany to her to be able to understand why she's behaving the way she is, why she feels the way she does, and to know that the things that she actually is passionate about, which are her spirituality, working with animals, healing, all of those things are meant to be. And so now she can go towards them rather than, you know, going around them or running away from them. So she is so much happier just knowing that. And we were able to do some cord clearing, we were able to do some energy work and realign the chakras, and she is like a completely different person, okay? She's still taking a lot of it on board because there was a lot that came up in an hour session, but it's made such a huge, huge difference already. And I'm just so grateful that I've managed to help her do that. So do you have a witch wound? How can you tell if you've got a witch wound? So you will not put your opinion out there. You won't open yourself to criticism. You might be massively spiritual, but you'll never tell anyone, in which case you're never going to be able to run a business because you have to tell people when you've got a business so that they'll come to you, obviously. So that's going to be a real problem. You might not want to be seen by people, and that might be in all areas of your life. You just want to keep your head below the parapet. And you will find that you will avoid doing those things that you really want to do because of the wound. Okay, so you might be massively interested in setting up a Reiki healing business, and you might have put so much energy into it, but it never works, it never goes anywhere. And so this is about being able to speak your truth, to say, yes, I'm a Reiki healer or a tarot reader or whatever it is, and to be able to do it without fear of being persecuted. Okay, so if this is something that you feel you've got, know that it can be changed. Okay, so if you need help with that, give me a shout. But there's just so much work that can be done that you can do yourself to get your life back on track. I hope that helps, and I'll be back with you later.